y'all. So my husband made me watch this fight. Just I want to let y'all know. My husband made me watch this fight because I forgot about it. Um, First of all, Netflix, you cost too much and you are work too much money for that stream to have been as fucked up as it was. I couldn't even make out the first fight. And I believe the first two fights were the best fights. I ain't even really see the first one, but I feel like the Latino people was really in there, like, emotionally engaged in that fight. Rosie Perez was one of the commentators and shit like that. Jake Paul. I have a love-hate relationship with Rosie Perez. Cause like I love her, but I also feel like she is a problematic Latina. Just my opinion. I feel like there are a lot of problematic Latinas. Because y'all love to act like, oh, we don't want to be white, but you also don't want to identify with a part of you that is obviously not white, that is melanated. But we gonna leave it alone because I'm 100% Puerto Rican and loving it, honey. Okay, listen, Boricua. Serrano should have won. I feel like this whole fight was a MAGA fight. This whole fight was defeat the black people's spirit. If them niggas out there got a spirit, Jake Paul's job was to squash that spirit, but do it with money. I feel like I felt something weird the entire time when I was seeing Tyson. First of all, they had him looking like a feeble old man, interviewing him by his own fucking son. He turns around and instead of them cutting the clip when he turns around and walks away, the cameraman literally zooms out so you can see his ass. It was on purpose. It was meant to make him look like a feeble old man that should not be in the ring, but wants $20 million so bad that he's going to embarrass himself and his boxing legacy. Because let's be very clear, he don't give a fuck about his legacy, and in real life he doesn't have a good reputation. Tyson might be somebody y'all like right now, but y'all ignore a lot of the fucked up things that Mike Tyson has said he's done and he's been convicted of. He's been convicted of rape before, and we've had multiple sound bites of him talking about how he was trying to do it again. He just was talking about him and his homeboy had sex with a lady with AIDS, and both of them had AIDS. He didn't get it. And I wonder, was the sex consensual? Because we remember how you was trying to basically get permission from Fat Joe to box Remy Ma up in a corner. And it was somebody else that he did that to. Where it's like he goes and talks to a man so that he can basically box a woman into a corner and take her coochie. Like, he don't ask the Eve. He did it to Eve. Yes. And yes, the Locks was trying to figure out how they was gonna fuck Mike Tyson up because of how he was handling Eve. Okay. But y'all still revere him like he's somebody y'all should be online defending. I was one of them people that felt like, yeah, this was kind of sad to watch, but fuck that nigga. I'm sorry. I'm gonna be the one that's gonna say it. Fuck that nigga. He might have, got on shrooms and changed his mindset and started doing a podcast and learned from his previous mistakes and all of that. And now he's a new person. He's able to live and make his money. But essentially, I'm not somebody that felt like I'm about to be online. Oh, Mike, fuck out of here. Fuck out of here. And I still don't like the way y'all did Robin Givens. Like, as a culture, and I remember having this conversation. People were arguing with me about this. And I'm like, you will never convince me that there was anything wrong with Robin Givens being with Mike Tyson because he was successful. She was also successful. She was also, somebody that had their own shit going on. Very well educated, went to Sarah Lawrence, was already an actress and acting in blockbuster films. Like, she's a good actress at that. She's not even just somebody that's acting because they're pretty. Like, y'all know Robin Givens is a good actress. Robin was in a public abusive relationship with Mike Tyson. They will bring up, oh, she was drugging him. Yeah, so she wouldn't get her ass beat. Because the nigga that's a boxer was literally beating Robin Givens, from what I remember. Either way, The whole of the black community decided to make Robin Givens out to be the epitome of a woman that gets with a man for his money and then dogs him out. You got with that slow ass nigga and then you dogged him out and embarrassed him in public. That's that in Living Color. All kind of different shows created this narrative about Robin Givens that really destroyed her career for a little while. I'm just being real. Y'all literally destroyed Robin Givens' career for a little while simply because her and Mike Tyson were in a tumultuous relationship and y'all wanted to see Iron Mike Tyson as a fucking victim in an abusive relationship with Robin Givens. It was crazy to me. Okay. But outside of that, that's the past, right? He got accused of something. He was charged. He went to jail. He got out and said, I still don't give a fuck. He has since then done shrooms. Yeah. If there are so many skits on In Living Color that were like making fun of Robin Givens and making her like, remember it was like one of the dating ones and Kim Coles was playing I make Tyson and I make sure like I drugged him. Like they really made him a victim in the abusive situation between the two of them. And anytime he did anything, it was like there's always somebody willing to defend him. Even when he gets on podcasts in the 2020s and tells y'all that he was talking to Fat Joe like, man, let me get Remy. And Fat Joe had to be like, no, I'm not leaving her here with you. Women, actual famous women telling y'all how often Mike Tyson has attempted to R somebody by asking some nigga for permission to do it to the woman. And if the woman didn't have men around her that were willing to protect her, she would have just been fucked. So I'm not the one that's really going to feel bad for Mike Tyson because he decided to sell out his own boxing legacy to get in the ring and pretend to not be able to beat this white boy's ass. Because I'm telling y'all right now, Jake Paul is not a real fighter. I don't give a fuck about how much he's done for boxing. At the end of the day, I appreciate the fact that the women, Serrano and a white girl, were able to make a lot of money. But at the end of the day, Serrano beat the white girl in every single category, and she still lost the fight with the skin falling off her fucking eye. If that was not an example of how that fight was a mental thing, like, I don't know about y'all, but after the fight was over, I felt terrible. I felt terrible after that fight. Y'all, it wasn't even about Mike Tyson and Jake Paul, but the Serrano fight really kind of like made me see what the whole point of that fight was. It was a MAGA fight. It was for the MAGA people. That's why after it was over, Jake Paul was like, the truth is finally coming back. And that little speech he gave, I don't know if y'all missed it, but he gave a little speech that absolutely was given MAGA. And then you see Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson was in practice, fighting like an old man that could beat anybody Jake Paul's age ass. But for some reason, he's in the ring, stumbling and falling like he can't catch his footing. Jake Paul is not even a real fighter. He's not even a real fighter. Mike Tyson was supposed to be able to go in there and beat that nigga on the side, open him up, and uppercut the fuck out of him. But then we find out that it was a part of both of their contracts that they couldn't really fight each other. So this is another reason why I feel like child boxing is never going to be what it used to be when Mike was in his prime, because now y'all don't fight for real. Back then, even though people were, you had your Don King and them that were exploiting the fighters and exploiting drama in order to get everybody to come and watch. It was still a real fight based off of the fighters' actual, prowess. Nowadays, it's not about that. When I tell y'all, I don't get excited about boxing at all anymore. And my dad was a huge boxing fan. We had a goddamn Sphinx poster on the wall in his studio because of how much my dad was into boxing. Any big fight, we were watching. We had pay-per-view, bitch. Okay? Shout out to pay-per-view because they would have never Netflix. But to me, it was a setup from the very beginning for Jake Paul to win. But it's not a real win. You are 3 times younger than Mike Tyson. He still should have been able to beat your ass, but he pretended that he was old and feeble so he could lose that fight and only get the 20 million. Jake Paul made 40 million, if I'm correct. Okay. But either way, and then I noticed that there was a black girl and a white girl, but then right before Jake Paul and Tyson came up there, the black girl disappeared. I don't know if I was the only one that noticed that. It was a black girl and a white girl that was the pretty models, the card holders. And then right before they came up, the black girl disappeared. I don't know if it was just me, but either way, boxing is fake. Boxing has been fake for a minute now. That's why people aren't as invested as they used to be. And you got to have Zeus Network and all of that shit promoting fights now in order for anybody to think it's going to be real, because fights have not been real for a long time. I don't know how many times I done watched niggas get on, into the boxing ring and fake out and run around the goddamn ring for the time until somebody gets called the winner just because of who threw and connected the most punches. You know what I'm saying? But to see Serrano have the skin peeling off her fucking eye, and she still beat that white girl when it came to how many punches she landed. Like when it came, there's 3 different categories, y'all. I forgot, but in those 3 different categories, Serrano won in each category. She had more points than the white girl, and because that white girl kept headbutting her, it made it look like she was getting more fucked up in a fight than she actually was. She headbutted her in the same spot 3 times that I counted. It probably was more than that. But girl, it's time for me to get my lashes done, girl. But watching Serrano's eye peeling off in HD, girl, I was so mad. The only time that the stream wasn't buffering is when the camera wanted to zoom in on the hole above that lady's eye. I was so disgusted. Me and Lyric was trying to eat, and every time they would zoom in on her eye and they asked her, "Do you want to stop the fight?" She said no. Serrano should have won that fucking fight. So to me, that let me know the whole thing was rigged. When Mike Tyson was walking out, he just didn't seem like himself at all. Almost like, I'm ashamed that I'm about to do this, but I need the money, so I'm going to do it. I need the money, so I'm going to do it, but I'm ashamed that I'm about to do this. I don't know why the fuck him and Jake Paul are friends, but hey, I mean, y'all know how it is. Predators protect predators. Okay, that's usually how it is. Okay, child, it was embarrassing. And I feel like, I don't know why Jake Paul feels like he actually did something. You didn't do anything. You didn't do anything. Then we talked about it, but DDG, and I said it when I was watching the fight, I'm like, not him trying to do Muhammad Ali's route. Everybody knows that Muhammad Ali, if you know anything about boxing, and this is because I'm slightly old and my dad was really into boxing, so I remember whatever my dad was really into, I was forced to watch. Okay, that's how it went. Yes, no, the glove biting was disturbing. No, it was out of frustration. Anytime, I feel like it's something he naturally does, but because he likes to bite shit, but I feel like it was because he was frustrated. Because it happened every time he could have done something and he did something different, he bit that glove. But DDG came out and was like, basically saying Jake Paul was better than Muhammad Ali. And I'm like, for you to, because of course he's probably trolling. You don't even have context. You're too fucking young to remember actually seeing Muhammad Ali fight anybody, first of all. And you probably haven't seen enough clips of him fighting in order to know what type of fighter he really was. But Muhammad Ali was the person that was well known for quick feet and tiring people out. If you were bigger than him, he would tire your ass out in the ring, running around the ring until your big ass got tired. I think he did that with Holyfield. And then he would you know what I'm saying? And two-piece your ass. That was the same thing they thought Jake Paul was going to be able to do. But it was obvious that, Tyson was like, if I can't hit you, nigga, you can't hit me. Because nobody was hitting anybody. Okay. Lennox Lewis was dope as well. There's a lot of dope fighters back in the day. Yeah, the rope dope. You know what I'm saying? Because I remember, they will fall back on the rope. Child, Muhammad Ali was so good at acting a fool, bro, and making it a show. That's why when I was looking, I was like, DDG, please shut the fuck up. And I literally commented, and they say that Haley is the reason why we don't like this nigga. And then, they got to have all the trolls that defend him. But to me, anybody that thinks we don't like DDG specifically because we put Holly on a pedestal, please understand that's not true. He's a troll, she's a troll, but he's really a fucking troll. And in that moment, nobody needed to see that from you, sir. Nobody needed to see that false equivalency that you posted on the internet. That's another reason why I don't fucking like your ass. George Foreman. Yeah, it wasn't Holyfield, it was George Foreman. Because George Foreman was big as fuck. Okay? Listen, all them niggas that boxed back in the day, the heavyweights back in the day were huge. And I remember, I literally watched the Evander Holyfield Tyson fight. Like I literally, I told y'all, we had pay-per-view. We was watching that shit. So I watched that fight. And I remember the way Evander Holyfield jumped up in the air when Mike Tyson bit his ear off. Like it completely broke the fight. Like he jumped up into the air. God damn. Like it was crazy, y'all. I literally remember watching that shit. So that's why I'm just kind of like, none of this boxing that y'all do nowadays is really real. Nobody's really fighting. It's fake. And y'all drudge up a lot of entertainment value. And that's what Jake Paul is good at. Him and his brother are, good at acting a fucking fool and getting everybody to want to come and watch. But they played in our face. And energetically, I feel like it was a way to break people's spirit. I do. Energetically, I think it was a way to break people's spirit. But yeah, no, I'm not going for that. Cause niggas was really like, first Kamala, now Tyson. I'm like, did y'all really think Tyson was going TKO that nigga? Or KO that nigga? No. Apparently, Jake Paul was the one that orchestrated everything. The way Rosie Perez was talking about, he's done so much for boxing. He's done so much for boxing. Okay. So that's giving you put a lot of money into it. So once we know that you put a lot of money into something, we know that you running shit. So we know you're never going to really look as bad as you should look because you the one with the purse strings is what it's given. Okay. But yeah, Serrano and that white girl, their fight was much better. Even after the fact, because they pointed out that she kept headbutting, and it was like, would y'all be open to another match? And Serrano's, boxing coach was like, yeah, if she don't headbutt her again. And they pointed out all of the other people that were, known for getting headbutted by her in previous fights. Yeah. It was absolutely given rigged. Okay. Ali was a wordsmith. Yes. It was a lot that went into his showmanship and his style. It wasn't just aggravating people. Like, the rage baiting that takes place nowadays, I think it's dangerous. And I think it's something that a lot of people like to play with, but it's dangerous. So we'll just see. But this was absolutely giving white power. Condoleezza Rice. White power. Okay. That's what it's giving. That's my opinion, girl.